Hey, cool kids, good morning. This is Jeff again with some more horseback wisdom. Not on a horse because I don't have any more horses. Right? If you've followed this channel, you'll know that we gave our horses away because we're moving. But anyway, today I wanted to talk to you about something that happened to Jesus that's happening in our world today to ordinary people, and it could happen to you, and so you should be aware of it. So this is what I'm talking about is related to AI and information. So if you go back and read the Gospels, when the Jewish religious leaders wanted to kill Jesus, they brought in a bunch of people, false witnesses, to testify against him. And they were bringing in these people. We see this same thing happening today, right, with false information. But they brought in all these people, and nobody could say anything against him because he had not done anything wrong, until they convinced some people to say that he would destroy the temple in Jerusalem. And they worshipped that temple because that was the repository of the billions and billions of dollars that Caiaphas and his family controlled. So that's what they used to condemn Jesus and take him before the Roman governor Pilate. Well, anyway, so it was false witnesses and false testimony that was used to condemn Jesus. And how does that relate to today and AI? Well, from my personal experience, and I'm getting ready to retire from a federal agency, I can tell you that the AI system that is being integrated into my agency produces somewhere on the order of 90% or greater false information. In other words, I'll ask it, hey, does this apply to this? And it'll give me more than 9 times out of 10 a false answer. And I know the answer when I'm asking it the question. And AI in general probably follows that same pattern, right? But as Americans, people want to tend to give the benefit of the doubt to humans and now to these computer systems. But what happens when the computer system is giving out bad information? Some of which is intentional. People forget. Nothing comes out of an AI system but the information is put into it, right? So when false testimonies and false witnesses and false things are being put in, what's going to come out? I'll give you an example. If you read the newspaper or any website of any major news source, most of the information you read will be wrong. And how do I know that? Well, fact check it yourself. Don't go to factcheck.org or some other, because they're just opposing their viewpoints on the fact checking, but verify it for yourself. In other words, if you see a news story that says Secretary Kennedy said this, well, go and listen to Secretary Kennedy and see whether he really said that. You'll find that more than 9 times out of 10 he didn't. And that's just an example. So how does this apply to you and me? Well, we know it's in the Bible, right? Used against Jesus. What happens when it's used against you? So in China, they have a culture score. Now, when I used to go to China, they didn't really have this yet. But the communists get worse and worse as time goes on, obviously, because communism and socialism are devilish systems. They're not from God. So in China today, if you do something that someone else doesn't like, they can report you to the authorities, and those authorities can use that information to downgrade your social score, and that will restrict many of the things that you can do, like places you can go shop, or promotions on your job, or things that you're allowed to do recreationally. And Americans might think, oh, well, that can never happen here. No, if we don't recognize it, and as believers stand against it, it will absolutely happen here. And it does in a way that you might not think of. Let's say you live in a place with a homeowners association. which is a horrible communist creation, right? Sold to you on the pretense that it will help your property maintain value. That's a lie, a complete lie. Don't take my word for it. Go do the research, right? I live on a farm. There's no homeowners association. As a matter of fact, my neighbors and I would probably lynch you if you suggested having one. And yet our properties have skyrocketed in value. It has nothing to do with the homeowners association. But how does this apply to AI and what happened to Jesus? Well, the example is somebody in your homeowners association doesn't like something you've done or doesn't like you, and they report you and they begin to persecute you by sending you nasty letters and they can fine you, and in some ridiculous cases they can even take your property. That's not America. That's Soviet communism. Well, as AI is being integrated into our legal system, I'm sure you've seen lots of stories about how judges have issued completely erroneous decisions because they used AI and the information that came out was wrong. So what happens when those kind of systems start being used against you? Let's say, for example, you're like me and you're a Jesus freak, right? And you love everyone. I don't love what they do, but I love them. But you don't like me because I'm always talking about Jesus and I'm always happy and I'm always trying to bless you, and you don't like that. So you contact the authorities, who may or may not be pro or against me, but they're going to use what you say and what you tell them against me, right? And let's say you use artificial intelligence to generate some negative information that's not real, but the law enforcement people aren't going to check on that. And then all of a sudden some people show up at your door, or my door in this hypothetical case, and say, hey, we've got some complaints against you, and we're going to do some things that are going to affect you negatively. Well, I know of examples, even without AI, where that's happening today. I know of people. I had an employee years ago that was completely falsely imprisoned in Houston, Texas, even after I provided information that he wasn't anywhere near the scene of this alleged incident. He was working for me. They didn't care. They were going to get him. And he had to spend a year in jail until he could scrape together the money to pay this very high-powered defense attorney, who instantly got him out because the judges knew that their case was bogus. That happens all the time in America, folks. Somebody on your city council doesn't like you, or somebody that's a business person that has a friend that's a judge doesn't like you. Well, what happens when anonymous people start doing this using AI? You've heard of swatting, right? Marjorie Taylor Greene, the congresswoman who's resigning, she's been swatted several times. She says that people just randomly call up and the police department's not intelligent enough to investigate it. So they send a SWAT team out to this property and bust in someone's house without checking on anything. But what happens when AI starts to do that to you? What happens when a city adopts an AI system to try to help them manage the population? Boy, that's a B.F. Skinner term if I've ever heard. And the AI says, you know, that Jeff guy, he's doing a lot of bad stuff. And they send the police department out to my house. If you think this is far-fetched, folks, I'm just telling you it's not. This is being integrated into government. You know, I've already told you that in my system, in the federal government, it's already being integrated. And it's wrong, right? It's wrong. On another personal level, let's say you're getting ready to be a retiree and the government adopts AI to screen your application. Well, let's say the AI tells the government employee or the government system, hey, this person has, X number of quarters of work time, which is far below what you actually have. Well, guess what? Then you have to go and appeal and fight and spend hours or days or weeks or months of your time trying to get the benefits that you should have, all because a system called AI decided that you weren't eligible. Well, folks, that's the Pandora's box that has been opened in our country. Now, as believers in Jesus, should we be afraid of that? No. But what should we do? We should be praying every day. This is an antichrist thing. AI is not of God. It's not of the kingdom. It is not of the church. It's of the devil. Are there some applications where it can be beneficial? Sure. Right? If I have a giant warehouse full of stuff and I ask the system to help me count it and categorize it, and it doesn't really affect anybody's life if it's incorrect, then yes, that's a good use of that system. But in any incidents where a person, a human being, is affected, that system should never be used. So be praying against it, right? Jesus said, you will know the truth, him, and the truth will set you free. But you can't have the truth if an automated machine system is telling you falsehoods and you're believing them. So don't. As a practical matter, don't believe what you read and see unless you verify it. So what does that mean? Well, spend less time listening to stuff, right? And don't spout and repeat what other people say, especially on television or the internet. Verify it first. And that means you'll spend less time on those systems and more time with people, because you don't want to spend forever trying to verify all this nonsense. Anyway, love you. Seek the truth.